Hey guys, so today I want to talk about when to start running paid advertising for the tax planning business to get tax planning clients. Now, this is really important because when I was first getting started, there was a bunch of like posts and stuff online talking about advertising is risky, advertising is dangerous. And it wasn't until I really started, I paid a lot of money on like courses and stuff to learn about advertising that I really started understanding from like a really mathematical perspective how to make advertising extremely profitable and remove as much risk as possible while doing it. So I want to kind of talk about like what's the timing of when to start. Now, also, if you want some help growing your tax planning business, I invite you to click the link inside the description either above or below the video to book a call with myself to see if I can help you. Now, these lessons we kind of teach inside the video are lessons I've learned from running my business for the past decade, and we run a lot of different things. So in terms of advertising, I spend anywhere between about 30 to about 60 grand per year on advertising for each of my companies. Now, the cool thing about this is, it gives me a lot of different perspective on the different types of advertising, as well as like, mathematical equations of like what is safe versus what is unsafe, and how do you know if you're actually on track. Now, if you don't have someone that is like guiding you by the hand, showing you how to run ads, it's it can be risky because you're gonna probably spend like 1,500 bucks not get anything out of it, and then just like feel like ads don't work. So I'd really only recommend you do it if you have a trained professional that is like guiding you to do it. Now, I'm not saying like to go pay an agency to do it, right? Because in a lot of cases, just paying an agency, if you've never run advertising, it's very hard to know, are they doing a good job or are they doing a bad job? And a lot of agencies, their only goal is not necessarily to get you clients, their goal is to kind of make you keep paying their monthly retainer fees. So most cases they have like a kind of 90-day spiel they kind of use on you for 90 days to get you to pay at least 3 months of their retainers. So when to start running paid ads? So number one, it depends on your goals. If your goals are to get to, like 5, 10, 15, 20, probably 5, 10, 15K per month, and you're selling a package-based service like tax plan. When I say package-based, that means you're getting the payment for the entire service up front. A different type of a monthly installment service like monthly bookkeeping is harder to make ads work in the beginning because you're not really getting that cash infusion versus when you're selling like a tax planning or some sort of consulting where it's like there's a very set package and people are used to paying it at one time. You can run ads more profitably because the amount of money you spend on the ads, for if you get one client to pay you in full, you're generally gonna make a good profit. Let's say, for example, and I'll give you some math equations as we're kind of like going through this thing to kind of make it make sense. But if your goals are generally to get above 25 to, 50K per month, you're going to need advertising of some sort in order to really control that income. If you're always relying on free methodologies like posting on Facebook or, going inside of Facebook groups or sending messages on LinkedIn or even YouTube, for example, it's the amount you will make over the course of the year can be consistent, but the times with which you'll get paid are going to vary very drastically. So, for example, I've had it when I was first getting started with my YouTube channel. Some months I literally made like 40K in a month, and then the next month you'll make like you get one client sale, right? So but at the overall course of a year, you end up making, 120, $150,000 per year from your YouTube channel. But within each month, it's like boom, 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 boom. In the beginning. There are things you can do to make it more stabilized, which will be like advertising. We're going to talk about that today as to how to add advertising into your regular marketing process to add more of that stability inside of it. So if you're trying to get, just 5, 10, 15K, you don't need advertising to start. If you're trying to get to 25 to 50K, you're generally going to need advertising to take you over the hump, right? Because you'll get to about 10 to 15K organically, and organically just means like for free. But then to get that more control and that consistency to get there, you need to have ads. So let's say, so when you're starting out, right, every client that you get for tax planning, I would just advise you to maybe save anywhere between like 10 to 20% of the revenue you get from that client and put it almost inside of like a future ad budget, right? So basically, you're just basically like making another account where it's just like strictly for advertising in the future. The problem that most people face with ads is that they use money that they need to live on to pay for the advertising. And that's going to cause a lot of risk. That's going to cause a lot of like stress and pressure. But if you already had money which you weren't using to live off of, and you didn't really like need it, and it wasn't like harmful, you have a little bit more patience when it comes to deploying that capital to be able to start making it multiply, right? So it's very similar to like, like investing, like in the stock market, right? You never use money that you can't afford to lose. You You always want to have like a set, like limit, a set number they're going to be doing, right? Same thing with advertising. So to make that easier, you just save a little bit of money from every single client you get on your organic side in the beginning, and then it's going to help us be able to like get more money in the future. So who should be using advertisements? Anyone that has larger goals, or anyone that might want to control their income. So this is the point I was started talking about a couple minutes ago, and but I cut that point off so we can kind of talk a little bit further. But if you want to be able to control your income, then running advertisements makes a lot of sense for you. Because let's say, for example, you know that for every 100 people that follow you on Instagram, one person will pay for your $5,000 tax plan service. I'm just going to round to $5,000. Sometimes you can sell a tax plan for 3,000. Sometimes you can sell for 10, for 15, for 20,000. But a nice rule of thumb that most people are comfortable with is selling something for $5,000. So we'll just say $5,000 for this example. If you know for every 100 people, if your leads are costing you $3 per person, it's going to cost you $300 per $5,000 sale. That's why earlier I was saying like it's really important to sell a package-based service because if you can get a large percentage of that money up front, for every $300 you're making, let's say you don't collect the full $5,000 up front. Let's say you collect 50% up front, then 50% upon completion of the plan, right? So that means you'll get $2,500 up front. If you put in $300, let's say, let me do the math real quick. It's not a 10. Sorry, sometimes my mental math is a little bit off when I'm tired. So we'll do 2,500 divided by 300. That is an 8x return on your money. There's very, very, very few places in this world that you'll be able to go and get 8x on your money within 30 to 60 days of spending the money on something. Think about the stock market. If a stock goes up by 100% a year, that is a 2x multiple, right? You're an amazing investor. And most times, like you can be if you got 25% gain on your money. So you spent $1 in and you got what is that? 0.25, 25 cents back for every dollar you spend. You're one of the best investors of all time. But if you go inside of advertising and you don't get at least a 300% return, you're not even doing it correctly. Because think about it, that was an 8x return just at the beginning before you even got the second payment. So for every dollar that you're putting in advertising for a tax plan, you're technically getting about $16 back. That is crazy, right? So then it's just like you just keep scaling, keep scaling, keep scaling. And you don't there will come a time like it's like, well, can I just spend indefinitely? You technically can spend indefinitely. It's gonna be based on like how many people can you service and how many sales calls can you take. So that's the key when it comes to advertising if you're doing a book a call methodology. So book a call methodology. Generally, it's like when you run an advertisement, someone is interested to learn about your service, then they book a call to see if you can help them. Right? There's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so much energy you have. Most people, if you told them that they'd do 7 hours every single day of sales calls, they would burn out very quickly. How do I know? I did that for a long time, where I had 7 calls every single day of people that were interested in my services, my various services. That's a lot. So if I wanted to go and scale extremely hard, how I would do that this time was I would generally have a sales rep to field all of the calls from advertising. Now that's something that I did for a while, but for a lot of my services, I cap it off at a certain amount of people every single month. Number of different reasons why, but I generally like to work with the people that I'm working with because a lot of the stuff that I offer, for example, let's say our mentorship program for tax planning people or our mentorship program for bookkeeping students. That's very results oriented. So if I just brought on 1 million people, the result rate can kind of drop because they don't get as much attention. Versus if you're selling like more of a tax planning service, if you have a very similar niche, then a lot of the tax plans don't necessarily have to take as much time. In a lot of cases, it's more like black or white. Do they do the stuff or do they not do the stuff? Right? Especially if you're just selling the plan, you're not selling the implementation as well. But I kind of digress there. But that allows you to be able to kind of control your income. So let's give you an example. Let's say that you wanted to go. I don't know, my scroll's not quite working. If you want to control your income, let's say that you wanted to go and we'll say you wanted to go and get one client every single week. That means all you have to do is if you know it costs $300 per client, you spend $300 every week, you're going to get one client per week. Simple. If you want to get two clients a week, you just spend $600 a week. So let's say you wanted to go and get one client every week for, we'll say 50 out of 52 weeks of the year. Like maybe you take 2 weeks off vacation or just you have a sales rep or you just for the sake of example, right? I'm just going to give you an example. So all you need to do is do it in multiples of 300. So 50 times $300 because our cost per client is $300 in this example, that's $15,000 in ad spend. Now $15,000 spent at one time sounds like a lot of money for some people. It is a lot of money for certain people, right? But if you do it in little increments over time, and you're again saving that 10% or 20% of the income that you make from each tax plan, that $15,000 is nothing. You won't even feel it. You won't even think about it. Like literally, I don't even think about ads anymore because it's just like I just know, okay, cool. So for me, what I actually did was for all of my clients that come from either like a mentorship or bookkeeping or accounting, I actually put it inside of a it's kind of like an ETF stock and basically has like a monthly dividend, right? And that monthly dividend generally pays me out anywhere between like $2,000 to $5,000 a month. So I take that past money from my business. It's already making return. I'll take 50% of the money that came from that dividend. I'll put it right back into advertising. So it's like it's not even really technically coming out of my pocket. It's coming from my past money in my past pocket, right? So it just keeps shooting and shooting and shooting. So I know the more I can either spend per month or the more that I can just kind of run that, I can control exactly how much money I want to make because I understand advertising and because I have these numbers. Now, if you don't understand what to put inside your ads, where to send people after they've done the ads, what is your nurturing process of the ads? Um, how do you make sure that by the time you get to the consultation call, they actually want to buy from you? If you don't have that process, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to consistently close those leads. Because remember, it's costing you $3 per lead. So if you don't know how to convert a lead, it's very easy to go and get 500 leads and not be able to convert any single one of them, especially if your ad has the bad targeting, if you're attracting a lot of people that maybe don't qualify for your tax planning services, if you're attracting a lot of people that don't really understand why they're following you, if you have the targeting off in the ad, just like spewing people who don't have like a business or don't even have like, a complex tax situation, it's very easy to lose money. So at each stage, if you get it down correctly, it is so smooth. For example, we'll say for like my school group, one place I teach some of our students to do is by sending people inside of an online community that you can then nurture, and all nurturing means like put your content in front of or talk to or build a relationship with, right? If you send a bunch of leads to there and you have a good enough process, the more and more leads you put in, the more that's going to come on this other side. And you'll have really high quality sales consultation calls. But for me, for example, I've gotten so good at advertising, I can actually spend less money and make more profit and more money in terms of revenue from less spend than what I used to. So I used to have to spend like I used to spend like 50, 60K per year in ads, right? I've actually gotten it down to for me spending 20K per year, I make the same amount of money as what I was making when I was spending 50K. So I've essentially cut my ad costs in terms of in third, essentially. But I can make more money and more profit, right? But that's from like mastering your advertising. So I have a very simple ad on the front end that just brings in the right kind of person. Within there, I have like really simple content that just attracts the right set of people. Then I have what's called a retargeting ad. So a retargeting ad is basically an ad that goes to people who have already opted in or like raise their hand saying they're interested in whatever you're learning. And these retargeting ads basically teach people why they should work with me. So then by the time they get to the phone, they've just paid you money. It's like I don't necessarily have to even talk to people in like Messenger or anything like that anymore. It's just like they just kind of show up on your calendar. It's like, hey, do you want to buy from me today? Okay, cool. You do? Here's the pricing. Do you want to get started? Yes or no? And they're like, okay. It's when you master this stuff, man, like people talk about passive income, like like it's almost like I call it like semi-passive income when you start getting the ads because yes, someone has to take the consultation call. It does not necessarily have to be yourself, right? You can hire someone to do that, but I mean, really, all it is just you work with them, then you have like your plan set up. Your plan is going to take the most time to actually create the plan, unless you have like a very templated plan that you use for like all of your students within a single industry. Then you can meet with them like, once or twice a quarter if you want as well. So it's like, it's it's really a great business model. It's the only business model I think I like more. I like bookkeeping a little bit more just because the consistency of income. So like once you get the client, they're gonna stay with you. But in terms of like scaling past it, I always like tell my students that do bookkeeping. It's like, hey, so while you're kind of like learning the tax planning sides, make sure you maximize your bookkeeping. Get your bookkeeping to like 10 to 15K per month. And then from there, if you want to keep scaling, keep going, you add in like tax planning services. So the fact that you're watching this video and you already offer that service, it just makes it very easy for you to be able to go and scale your money. So like there's no reason why you should not be making at least 20K per month in top line revenue for your tax planning service. Like there's really no reason why. Right? It's just you either don't have the skills, you're not investing in ads, or you don't really have an understanding of like how to price out your services and collect enough cash up front to really make it work. Now, if you want help doing any of this stuff, like what to say in your ads, where to send people, how to nurture people, how to make sure they come to your call ready to go, and then how do you like keep replicating the process so you don't even have to worry about money again? Go ahead and click the link inside the description above or below the video. Book a call with myself. Let's see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program, right? I cannot help everybody. There are certain people I can't help certain situations. So if you want to see if you qualify for my help, want to see if I can help you out and make sure that we can reach your goals, click the link inside the description, book the call. I'd love to see if I can help you out. Cool. Awesome talk to you. Have a good rest of your day. Take it easy.